internally we've talked about this one for a few weeks now, that the writing was kind of on the wall for this to happen. And at this point, you're looking at rebuilding your entire interior defensive line room. And say what you want. I know we just talked glowingly about Aaron Bryant in the way that we could, but if you look at Bo Davis's recruiting efforts in 2022 and 2023, not a lot of production from your defensive line recruits in those two classes, because Sydir Mitchell was your only take in 2023. And then in 2022, you've got the Aaron Bryant, Jermayne Bledsoe, Zach Swanson, that group. So at this point, Jordan, if I can pull up my list here.
By the way, just going to read from this shell. Mitchell was the only defensive line prospect Texas signed in 2023.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And that class finished third nationally, and they literally had one D lineman.
Yeah.
Like, it's nuts. I like Bo Davis a lot. I think he was given more flack than he was deserving of. And a big part of why he wasn't able to recruit the defensive line like a lot of people thought was because Texas wasn't giving him the funds to be able to recruit the big war daddies. You need money to recruit and land 5, if not 4-star D linemen. You just do. Their value is it's effectively equivalent with offensive tackle as the second highest paid position in college football behind quarterback. But with Sydir Mitchell, he'll have 3 years of eligibility left, chose Texas over Georgia, Miami, and A&M among 16 other offers out of high school. Preserved a red shirt last year, appeared in 4 games versus Rice, Wyoming, Kansas, and the Big 12 championship game versus Oklahoma State, and he finished his rookie campaign with 3 tackles. Heading into this year, there's hope he'd break out, but never really seemed to click. Played in 5 of Texas's games against Colorado State, UTSA, Florida, Kentucky, and then the SEC Conference Championship game versus Georgia. Finished his second and final season in Austin with 4 total tackles and a half a tackle for loss.
Not great, Bob.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know what else to say, dog. So basically, your defensive line room as of right now is your 2, because keep in mind, you lost after Bo Davis took the LSU job. You lost DeAndre Robinson. So your defensive line room as of right now is your 2 remaining 2024 signees, which is Melvin Hills, who didn't play this year, and Alex January, who played sparingly, and the 3 you just signed, Justice Terry, Myron Charles, and Josiah Sharma. So, dude, yeah, you're looking at Texas. There's a reason why we put that number high. I mean, Jordan, what did you say? It's probably at least 4. Probably they're going to
I said they need at least 3, but if it's 4 or 5, hell yeah. Now the number needs to be at least 4.
Yeah.
If not 5. And like, it's also like we're getting closer and closer to actually having to recruit Bear Alexander. Potentially.
This is like your nightmare scenario come true, isn't it? Where you gotta pay the 1-year toll for the mercenary that is Bear Alexander.
Watch him come in and just be like Ndamukong Suh that 1 year.
Dude, if you can get 1 year of Suh, then our Travis Johnson brings up a good point, Jordan. And I think this is valid when you talk about portal entry. So what should we read into these? Were they mutual? Texas doesn't think they can make the next step. The players are not happy at Texas. I think some of it is a case-by-case basis. I think there's a lot of truth for some of these guys. I think there's truth in Aaron Bryant's letter. Some of these guys came to Texas to play for Bo Davis. They fit into the plan Bo Davis had for them, and now they don't because Bo Davis isn't there anymore. I think some guys it's a lack of playing time. I'll tell you this right now. If Texas is losing guys right now in this window this early, none of these moves are catching the staff by surprise. So they've already known that these departures were coming, which is why now I hope, Jordan, it makes sense for people why you had to do whatever it took to get Justice Terry. You know, why you were still trying at the 11th hour to flip DJ Sanders. this is why you were doing what you were doing in the recruiting cycle there towards the end, because they knew these moves were coming. Jordan, you're muted, by the way.
My bad. I don't know why. For some reason, I just had a thought that there's a chance maybe Jermayne Lole could find another year of eligibility, but I don't know. Also, like, if I'm Vernon Broughton, he might make more at Texas next year than he would if he leaves for the NFL at this point. Like, they kind of have to figure that out now.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they do, but, like, would you rather pay Vernon Broughton $900K, or would you rather have to go get Bear Alexander, someone from the portal who you don't know anything about?
Man,
Me personally, I'm paying Vernon Broughton $900K 10 times out of 10, or whatever that number is he wants. So
I know I've looked this up before. How old is Vernon Broughton? Because
he has 1 year left.
No, I'm talking about like his actual age.
Oh, I don't
Vernon's 23. So look, if you want to bring him back, I think here's the deal. If you want to bring him back, you've got to at least pay him what you got to pay him more than what his NFL rookie signing bonus would be. That's what the NIL deal has to be worth, I think. I also think about his NFL draft stock. I think you've got to look at it honestly with him. And, let's say he's a day 2 pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to get honest feedback. And if there's no way for him to get into the first round, like if he's not going to be a first round pick, if he comes back, then I think you're going to have to pay even more. In other words, I think if the draft stock can go up, I think you can maybe convince him to come back for another year. But then again, he's 23. He's married. Like Vernon didn't have a whole lot of incentive to take advantage of that COVID year.
Yeah, I believe he also has a child on the way as well.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, you know how that can affect decision making as well. You got to do what's best for your family now, not just you and your girl, but whole family. Wow. Yeah, not going to be great for Texas, but
here's the deal though, and you mentioned this yesterday. Now you're gonna have to, if you take 4, you're gonna need to have a couple of war daddies. Like you're gonna need to have a couple of the guys at the top of the food chain in the portal. But you got really productive years out of Jermayne Lole and Bill Norton, who were not. They weren't like the top of the food chain portal guys, but they've come in and been really productive players for you. So you can make it work. It's just, that's where a lot of your, hey, this is on Brandon Harris and those guys that are in charge of this stuff internally to figure it out. Basically, you're turning into a salary cap. Like, okay, what's your pool for portal defensive tackles? And maybe now this is one less linebacker you take, or one less safety, or one less receiver, or whatever it is. Maybe now you don't take a tight end. So it's kind of that gift and the curse with the portal. Like we know these aren't unlimited funds you have. You've got certain amount of money that you got to budget. So JW Crunch, I think the Vernon deal is not going to happen. I don't,
we're wearing tinfoil hats right now.
Yeah. So I think you can look at the list of portal defensive tackles, and if there's a difference maker in the portal of defensive tackle, Texas should be in on them. It's interesting though that the Bear Alexander stuff, there hadn't been a whole lot of movement there yet as far as Texas goes.
By the way, I mean, now that I think about it, like Dre Bledsoe, I don't think will come back. I think he's at Washington today, or is supposed to visit Washington the next few days or something.
Yeah.
That one is probably fully sailed. Now, however, Hayes Fawcett's tweet only says Sydir Mitchell plans to enter the transfer portal. So, Sark has gone on record saying once you enter, there's no coming back. We did see last year Juan Davis was an exception to that rule. He came back after being in the portal for like 2 minutes, and we never got a story on what actually happened there.
I believe that was some kind of clerical error.
Yeah, I always assume that too, because like if Juan Davis is going to leave, he should have left way earlier than that.
because he was in and then immediately was immediately out.
Yeah. But with Sydir, I mean, they might still have a chance to convince him. And, I know that's what Sark said. Once you go in the portal, there's no coming back. But, this is a bit of an exception. You can't go into next year with only 2 returning scholarship D linemen.
Yeah.
In the SEC. So maybe he comes back. Maybe they convince Aaron Bryant to come back, and he just showed everyone he's a good journalist or, knows what he's doing in language arts. But I don't know where Texas goes from here. Going to be incredible. Like, defensive line last year, it never was more important than it was last year. Now it's never more important than it is this year. Because at least last year you had an Alfred Collins, you had a Vernon Broughton, you had a Jermayne Bledsoe, you had these other guys coming back that you knew had some experience. Alex January has barely played. Melvin Hills hasn't played a snap. So it's not looking great. And, I mean, Justice Terry is going to play in every single game, most likely, as a true freshman. But the best case scenario for his development and who he is as a player, I think, would be if he basically kind of had a Colin Simmons type of role as a freshman, where it is very clear to him you have one job, rush the passer on 3rd and long or whatnot, and they put him in as like the pass rushing D tackle. Because, you never want to stunt guys' growths or get them too many snaps too early on because that can do that or get them hurt or whatnot. And, he's big. He's 6'5", 275, but, he will probably need to get north of 300 to really be able to make the impact like people are projecting him to. So, I don't know. I think Myron Charles can play early, but I mean, Josiah Sharma is kind of a project. Like, has only played D lineman for a year or two and has a lot of tools, a lot of traits, but he needs a lot of coaching. Not necessarily a day one ready guy. And now he's probably going to have to play day one. So, of those 3 newcomers coming in from the 25 class, Justice Terry should have the highest snap count, followed by Myron Charles. And then for Sharma, I mean, at this point, I'm not really expecting him to redshirt just because they need more D linemen and they don't have any as of right now. But gonna be very interesting to see what happens. So.